My name is Christopher Kennedy. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner out of Salt Lake City, Utah. My favorite hobby is Jiu-Jitsu. My second favorite hobby is any other martial art. For me, Jiu-Jitsu is the art of adaptability. And apart from simply learning about other martial arts, I like to see how well I can adapt when training and competing in a completely different style. Taekwondo is one of those unlucky martial arts that gets a lot of crap from the martial arts community. Interestingly enough, this actually attracted me to Taekwondo, and I decided to go wade through the muck a little bit to try to figure out where all the negativity was coming from. And what it all comes down to is one word: McDojoism. It refers to a martial arts school or martial arts gym that treats itself less like a gym and more like a daycare. A few signs of McDojoism are a gym that is full of kids, a gym that has adult classes starting at age 13, a gym that gives belts out too easily, a gym that choreographs completely cheesy demos, a gym that has no-touch sparring so that the kiddies don't get hurt, gyms that don't compete, gyms that don't produce actual fighters, gyms full of 10-year-old black belts. Hearing about one of these McDojos can be kind of scary. Whew. A gym full of posers. I didn't know those existed in America. Hearing about one of these McDojos can also be quite a relief. I remember the first time I met an 8-year-old black belt. I was like, I'm 22 and I'm only a blue belt. How embarrassing. My mother once told me that if you want to learn about an organization, you need to go talk to an active member of that organization. So if you want to learn about the Catholics, you don't go talk to a Buddhist. If you want to learn about the Catholics, you don't go talk to a Catholic who only goes to church on Christmas. You go talk to one that goes to church every Sunday. If you want to learn about political party A or political party B, you go talk to a member of political party A or political party B, and not vice versa. Lucky for me, my mom's teaching still ring clear as a bell in my head today, so I was able to apply this particular teaching to my life in martial arts. That being said, I had heard that some Taekwondo schools were cultish. They were very closed-minded, and when it came to martial arts, they were like, we're the best and screw the rest. So I decided to go talk to a man who I knew was not like this. He was a jiu-jitsu training partner of mine, and he actually owns his own Taekwondo school. His name is Mark McFarlane. He's ex-military. His gym, Black Diamond Taekwondo, is actually here in Utah, Harriman, Utah, where I live, so I did not have to go be a homeless ninja for this episode. I could stay home. It was awesome. When I told Mark that I was interested in learning more about Taekwondo, he invited me to his school. He agreed to help me prepare for a Taekwondo tournament, and he agreed to an interview. Before we watch me go get my butt kicked in a Taekwondo tournament, I would like you guys to hear a little bit from Mark. Hey everyone, this is Chris Kennedy again. Today I am in Harriman, Utah with Master Mark McFarlane, who has been teaching me Taekwondo for the last month. Mark, thanks big time for letting me train with you.
Absolutely, it's been a blast.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. I've had a great experience. It was really fun competing and working with you guys.
Good.
So I've noticed a huge difference between this and Jiu-Jitsu, which is what I mainly do, and then Muay Thai, which is kind of like a secondary art. But I don't really have much experience in other arts. What's like a main difference, something that sets Taekwondo apart from other martial arts styles?
It's focused on kicking. You know, that is our main weapon of choice.
Okay.
You know, most, I wouldn't say most, but a lot are striking arts, hands. You know, Muay Thai, they do kick, but they're, I wouldn't say limited, but they only have maybe, 3 kicks that they kind of focus on.
All I ever see is roundhouse and teeps. Yeah.
Roundhouse and teeps. We have a variety of attacks. You know, going from very basic roundhouse kick to, you know, jumping, spinning kicks. Legs are the most powerful appendage on your body.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they're the longest, you have the most reach. So that's definitely the biggest thing that stands out.
Okay.
You know, as far as the physical side. And the things that you're going to learn, or they're going to benefit you outside of the physical aspects. You know, because respect is always taught.
Of course.
But we talk about, you know, having the respect and the integrity and perseverance and all those things. So I think that's kind of one of the things that makes us stand out a little bit more too.
Okay, awesome.
And we do focus on multiple, like, I don't know what you call them, multiple practices. So we do sparring, we do forms, we do weapons, we do self-defense. So in jiu-jitsu we have fight. I mean, that's pretty much what you do.
Right.
But more like traditional arts like kung fu and karate, we have the different kind of aspects of it.
How do factors such as age and gender affect Taekwondo training?
This one reason why I like Taekwondo is it doesn't.
Oh.
It's very neutral on that. And I know this is one of the things that Taekwondo gets bashed for is, giving kids black belts. The way I look at it is if they have the same knowledge, they've put in the same hours, have the same abilities, why not?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not that they're going to be able to beat an adult, but that's not the point. To me, a black belt is more than the ability to fight. It's showing perseverance, showing hard work, it's having the knowledge. So that's one reason why I like it. It is very neutral on that.
Next question. So I can, coming to classes and observing classes, I can see it's very obvious to me how Taekwondo would affect the children, how it could be beneficial for them, especially teaching them respect and stuff. And of course, there's the self-defense and gives them some physical exercise and helps them understand their body and stuff like that. But what about adults? Obviously, you started as an adult, but is Taekwondo equally beneficial for an adult, someone who doesn't need the muscle development like a child does? He's not worried about self-defense like maybe a small child, like a parent might be for a small child, not worried about bullies. Doesn't have respect problems or focus problems.
Yeah.
Would Taekwondo still be just as beneficial for an adult?
Absolutely, but for different reasons.
Okay.
A lot of it is the physical, just adults who maybe are out of shape, again, don't want to go to the gym, want physical activity. So I think that's probably the number one thing that we get is the physical activity benefit for adults.
Okay.
But having adults step out of their comfort zone. And I think that's probably the biggest reason why adults don't start is because it looks scary.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to stand up in front of their peers and demonstrate and look silly.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's one huge benefit is being able to, it's the ego. And it's the same thing we talk about in jiu-jitsu is you will not succeed if you have an ego.
In Taekwondo and in a lot of other traditional martial arts as well, you guys do a lot of forms. So what do forms do for a fighter? Or why are they important?
There's a few reasons. I think first and foremost, we've been talking about lately, my wife and I, it's meditative. One of the big things that we like about martial arts is that ability to just focus on just what you're doing. Be present, not have to worry about the outside world.
Oh, okay.
And when you
can see that.
Yeah, it's such a nice thing to be able to come in here and just relax and do your form. It's called walking or moving meditation.
Okay.
Where most meditations are, seated, and meditation really all it is not necessarily clearing your brain, but just being present. And so that's what forms do for you, partially.
Okay, awesome.
Teaches balance, it teaches breathing, it teaches movement, it teaches coordination, it teaches you how to memorize, things. Because a lot of people have that not necessarily inability, but they have a hard time memorizing. A lot of studies have shown that participating in a form of exercise that forces you to use your brain, memorization, and your body at the same time reduces the risk of like Alzheimer's and things like that in later years.
Interesting.
So, and it's another part of the practice that can be continued throughout your old age. Because at some point you're gonna stop being able to spar and kick.
Okay.
But you can do forms forever.
Yeah.
The benefits of training Taekwondo are undeniable. After just 1 month of training with Mark, my kicks got higher and faster. If I ever train Taekwondo again, I'm definitely going to focus more on improving my kicks because that's the art that'll do it for you. For the month that I spent training with Mark, I spent most of my time preparing for a tournament which I'm about to show you. I entered 4 divisions, sport poomsae, traditional poomsae, board breaking, and sparring. Let's go check it out. When you're about to start your poomsae, you have to stand up, turn away from the judges and fix your uniform, walk to the edge of the mat and bow, then walk to the center of the mat and wait for permission to bow, and then for permission to get ready, and then from there for permission to start your poomsae. A poomsae is a form, basically, and this poomsae is called Taeguk Iljong, which is, I believe, the first yellow belt form. Even though I'm just a white belt, Mark thought it would be better to teach me this form because he said it does better in competition. And I thought I did it pretty well. I think I learned the form pretty well. And the judges must have thought so also, because the other guy, who I only competed against one other adult in Sport Pumse, and he did the same form as me, and I beat him. I got first place. So a successful start to the tournament. The second division I entered myself in was traditional Pumse. Another one of the reasons why Mark taught me Taeguk Iljong was because it can be used in both sport and traditional Pumse divisions. And I felt like I did a pretty good job both times, and the judges thought so as well. They gave me really high scores. However, I did not end up getting first place in traditional Pumse. The guy that beat me did a different form than I did. It was a lot cooler form, so I'm going to say he deserved the gold there. But I only lost by 0.2 of a point. Gosh dang it.
The third division I signed myself up for was board breaking. Now, we didn't do any board breaking preparation in class, so I was altogether unprepared for it. But when I went to sign up, I figured this might be my only Taekwondo tournament that I ever do, so I'm just going to try to do everything, so I just signed up for it anyway. I was originally under the impression that I was just going to be smashing through boards with my hand. But when I got there, they informed me that I was supposed to have a routine set up. So I literally thought up a routine when I was on deck. Literally, I was next in line to go to the board breaking, and I just made up something.
I had 5 boards, so I grabbed 5 volunteers from the audience just to kind of form a circle around me. And I figured I'd show off my new Taekwondo skills with a roundhouse kick, hook kick, and a front kick. And then I figured I'd throw in a punch as well. And then I thought I'd finish it all up with a jump knee, a Muay Thai technique, just to kind of give them something new to see, since it's something these people have probably never seen before. Roundhouse kick, no problem. Hook kick, no problem. Front kick, no problem. Punch, no problem. Jump knee. Broke the board, but fell on my butt. Embarrassed myself a little bit. No big deal, though. Everyone was really nice about it. The reason I fell was because the impact of the board was so different than what I've been accustomed to training on in the past. When you do a jump knee on a heavy bag, the heavy bag pushes you back a little bit. And whereas the board, when you do a jump knee, you keep going forward. I wasn't ready for that, so fell on my butt. No big deal, though. I ended up getting second place to this blue belt here, who had a really cool routine, broke about 15 boards. It was really fun to watch. He definitely deserved the gold here.
The final division of the tournament was sparring. Taekwondo sparring is like nothing I've ever done before. There are only punches and kicks allowed, so no elbows or knees or takedowns. And also, punches are only allowed to the torso, and kicks are only allowed to the torso and the head. Everything else is illegal. 1 point is scored for a basic attack, so a basic punch or kick to the torso. 2 points are scored for a spinning kick to the torso, and 3 points are awarded for a head kick.
This was my only sparring match for this tournament. There are so many children and so few adults that compete in Taekwondo tournaments that I was actually fortunate to even have one match. And I realized this was the case from the beginning, and I tried to talk those other 2 adults who I competed against earlier, the one who I beat in Sport Pumse and then the one that beat me in the board breaking. I tried to convince them to come to sparring, but they didn't want to do it. This guy right here was the same guy that beat me in the traditional Pumse division. And I actually counted myself pretty lucky to be able to compete against somebody who had previously beaten me. I figured it was a chance to kind of redeem myself. Right here I score the first point of the match with a roundhouse kick to his side, but he immediately gets me back with this beautiful roundhouse kick to my head. One of the things that makes Taekwondo practitioners such good kickers is their precision. I was starting to figure this out before I finished this video, and I feel like I displayed it really well right here. He goes to throw a front kick, and I twist out of the way and land a roundhouse kick on his side. Probably the most precision I've ever shown in competition before. And then after that, I land a pretty nice spinning kick as well. I think that's the only spinning kick that landed in this match. we'll go ahead and fast forward to the break. Pretty much Mark just sat me down, told me to breathe and kick more and get kicked less. So I go out there and I'm trying a few more spinning kicks. I'm able to land a few hits out right off the bat and bring up the score a little bit. He actually does really well this round, and he starts to catch up. But honestly, it's a pretty uneventful round. I keep trying these spinning kicks, but I can't land any more of them. They're a lot tougher than I originally thought they'd be. I'm not sure why he keeps getting these warnings. I honestly have no idea what he did to me, but I guess he did something illegal. Maybe kicked my leg or something. And the match is over. And once again, the Homeless Ninja is victorious. Because Taekwondo focuses so heavily on kicking, we are tempted to think of it as an incomplete art. But the more I trained Taekwondo, the more I realized how beneficial it could be, especially to someone who's trying to become a very well-rounded fighter. I thought a lot about MMA while I was training Taekwondo, and something occurred to me. I realized that a lot of MMA fighters train boxing, and they will even spar it, and they'll do this as part of their MMA training. And a lot of MMA fighters will also train wrestling, even though wrestling is primarily takedowns. And a lot of MMA fighters will also train jiu-jitsu, even though jiu-jitsu is primarily positioning and submissions. All of those arts are very one-sided, and I realized that Taekwondo is the exact same. Because they're so one-sided with their kicking, their kicks become extremely precise. They become really quick. These Taekwondo guys, their legs get extremely flexible. That right there was the main thing that I liked about Taekwondo. That was the thing that impressed me above all else, and for that reason alone, I'm going to give Taekwondo a score of 2 thumbs up. There are, of course, plenty of other benefits that can come from training Taekwondo. I think it can help with self-development. I think there's good aspects of self-defense in there as well. In fact, I have an interview, if you clicked on the link below, with a man named Tom Rehak, who used to train Taekwondo, and he has actually been in a few dozen street fights. So he talks about using martial arts in street fights. It's pretty interesting. I encourage you to click on the link. Taekwondo is also a very safe environment for learning how to spar. If a grappler, for example, wanted to learn how to strike, it can be very intimidating walking into a boxing ring or walking into a Muay Thai gym and getting punched in the face. It can be very scary. Taekwondo sparring, however, is not scary at all, and I think it could lead to a very easy transition into other striking styles. I want to give a big thanks to Mark McFarland of Black Diamond Taekwondo here in the Salt Lake City, Utah area. It was great training with you, man, and great working with your team as well. Big thanks to Tom Rehak for his interview as well, and thank you to all of you for watching. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, and if you have any requests for future videos or any questions, post in the comments below. Thanks. Good luck.